when 22-year-old Jayshawn Boyd entered a New Jersey gang unit cell block in a county jail. He did not last a full minute before 6 inmates swarmed him. They viciously beat him to the ground before a final stomp to the face left him unconscious on the concrete floor. But the nightmare was far from over. Footage captured inmates repeatedly slamming a wooden mop brush into his face until the object broke apart, along with a large microwave that was dropped onto his head multiple times, and even an industrial-size mop bucket that was slammed into his skull, leaving him in a pool of cleaning solution. Inmates continued the attack for 2.5 full minutes with no assistance from the guards ever intervening as they ran around the cell block and looked for more and more objects to drop on top of his head. Jayshawn Boyd was left in a coma while inmates Lockett, Watson, Jackson, Armour, Henry, Anderson, and Hutchins are awaiting court for attempted murder and rioting. It is still unknown why this attack occurred.
This teacher, nicknamed Bunda Becky by students, has been put in prison for doing this with teenage boys. Rebecca Joins was a 30-year-old teacher at a school in Manchester. She was nicknamed Bunda Becky by her students. It's reported that she always laughed off the inappropriate comments and was quite flattered by the attention. She would later claim that loneliness made her do the terrible things that she did. She initially connected with some of the teenagers at school over Snapchat. She then lured one boy to meet her in secret. She took him on a shopping spree as seen on CCTV here and bought him a £350 Gucci belt. Now, after going round the shops at the Trafford Centre with him, she took him back to her flat in Salford Quays. Warning the student that no one had better find out, she engaged in an S relationship with the boy. Now, the boy's mum actually got suspicious when he returned home with a love bite on his neck. The boy's mum went to the school and reported her suspicions. Police actually got involved at this point, but meanwhile, Becky started meeting up with another student. Known simply as Boy B, the teenager began an S relationship with Becky, and what happened next would shock everyone. She made him a treasure hunt at her flat. She arranged rose petals and hid little notes around her flat for him to find. The treasure hunt ended in a final present, a baby grow stating best dad. She was pregnant with the teenager's baby. By now, police were involved, as I mentioned, and when she gave birth to the child, it was immediately taken off her. She was arrested for S activity with 2 children and was found guilty. She will spend 6.5 years in prison.
The man had attacked Kimmy in the alleyway, put her in a chokehold, dragged her into his apartment. Kimmy decides to just make a run for it. She books it, trying to get past him and head straight for the door, but he reaches out his arm, grabs her, slams her down, and drags her into the bedroom. He throws her onto the bed and starts forcibly undressing her. He's licking her all over her face and chest area, and every time he would get near her, she would fight hard. She's pushing him away, scratching him so hard that there are chunks of his skin lodged between her fingernails, but it's like he doesn't even care. He doesn't even feel it. The only thing he feels right now is the overwhelming sensation to urinate. He always had to urinate before he has intimate relations. So he walks over to the restroom. Kimmy lunges for the bedroom door, slams it shut and locks it. And now she starts looking for an escape route. So behind her, she's hearing slamming on the bedroom door and she just needs to hurry. But before she can even get a limb out the window, the door to the room slams open. She gets thrown onto the ground. The man punches her twice, then another 3 times in the face. She's screaming, apologizing, pleading with the man, but he's not listening. He's just slowly unrolling duct tape. He's tying her arms together and then her legs, and he ties her up with so much duct tape she cannot move. She's screaming the entire time, screaming for help, telling him that it hurts, he's hurting her, that she's sorry, she won't do it again, until the very last little sound, and he covers up her mouth. In moments like this, you think, if someone could just hear someone else's screams, like a neighbor, right? Or someone, that would change things, right? Mm-hmm. Well, someone does hear Kimmy scream. There is another person inside that room. There's 20 other people, to be exact, inside that room. What? In the corner of the messy bedroom, there's a small light. Kimmy's phone. She had kicked it to the corner when he broke in through the door. 20 people were on the line, on a phone call, listening to Kimmy getting assaulted.
저기요, 지금 성폭행 당하신다고요? 성폭행 당하고 계신다고요? 네네. 들어갈 때 다시 한 번만 알려줄래요? 잘못했어요. 여보세요. 주소 다시 한 번만 알려주세요.
This evil father married his teenage daughter and then he killed her. Stephen Plattle is literally a weirdo from day one in our story today. When he was in his 20s, he met 15-year-old Alyssa online. He lured her to meet her in person, which is illegal because she's 15 and he's in his 20s. And then he started a relationship with her, getting her pregnant. Alyssa was only 17 when she gave birth to her and Stephen's daughter, Katie, but Alyssa says that Stephen was really abusive towards their newborn daughter, and also she was struggling being a teen mom, so she made the really difficult decision to put Katie up for adoption. Katie lived an extremely normal and happy life with her adoptive parents, but when she graduated high school, she wanted to meet her biological parents, which is completely normal. But when Katie met her biological parents, Stephen and Alyssa, it led her life in a very disturbing and dark place. When Katie met her biological parents, Stephen and Alyssa, at first everything was great. Stephen and Alyssa were still together. They had an 11-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old daughter, so Katie had siblings. They were all getting together really great. So well, in fact, that Katie moved out with her adoptive parents and moved in with her biological parents. But within a few months, Katie would be pregnant. Eventually, Katie's biological mom, Alyssa, moved out of the home because honestly, her marriage was pretty rocky. It obviously had been for a while. And she was kind of suspicious about her husband's relationship with their daughter that had just come back into their lives. Alyssa was so suspicious, in fact, that she read her 11-year-old's diary, and what she found was shocking and disgusting. Alyssa's 11-year-old daughter's diary said that Katie was pregnant and that her dad got Katie pregnant. Stephen is 42 years old, and this is less than 1 year since she's reached out to meet her biological parents. The diary also said that Stephen wanted his other 2 younger daughters to call Katie, their big sister, their stepmom. Like, how confusing is that for children, a 6-year-old and an 11-year-old? They just met a big sister that they probably didn't even know they had, so it's already one huge change, and now this. This child literally wrote in her diary that she didn't understand how she could be Katie's daughter and her little sister at the same time. Just so sick and so sad. And imagine Alyssa reading this. Obviously, one, I'd be so mad that my 11-year-old daughter is getting involved in this disgusting mess, but your husband and your daughter, I would be physically ill. Like, I'm feeling sick right now saying it. Alyssa tried to report her husband, Stephen, to the police, but they didn't do anything about it for 8 months because of course they did. And in the meantime, Stephen married Katie, his daughter. She's 18. He's 42. This entire thing is happening less than 1 year since she reached out to meet her biological parents. It's foul. And not only did Stephen's family members attend his wedding to his teenage daughter, but Katie's adoptive parents attended the wedding as well, fully knowing who Stephen is to Katie. I cannot comprehend it at all. Shortly later, Katie gave birth to a baby boy named Bennett that would technically be her son and her brother and be Stephen's son and grandson. In 2018, Katie and Stephen were both arrested because this kind of a relationship is illegal. While awaiting trial, Katie kind of came to her senses and realized that she was being completely manipulated by this adult that she obviously wanted validation from. I mean, the entire thing is really sick. So she called up her dad and tried to break up with him. But Stephen is this sick, evil coward. Words cannot describe how vile this man is, and he couldn't allow Katie moving on, I guess. So he took the lives of baby Bennett, Katie, and Katie's adopted father, Anthony. And then he unalived himself. He's such a coward. This is a senseless tragedy. And for what? If you're going to unalive yourself, why the baby, Katie, and her adopted father, who has nothing to do with any of this. And Stephen has these 2 other daughters who honestly were probably so confused for so long about this situation and are still probably so confused. Truly, my thoughts are with them, because I don't know how I could just like grow up, especially the 6-year-old and the 11-year-old who knew so much about what was going on. You guys are definitely gonna have to leave all your thoughts in the comments. I would also say questions, but I know this entire case is a huge question mark, but definitely leave your thoughts in the comments, and also leave some case suggestions for me while you're there. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. The cannibal frat boy. He was a normal teen until one day he did the unthinkable. It was Florida, 2016. Austin Harif was 19 years old. He was a sophomore in college. He was in a frat. He was an athlete. By all accounts, just a very normal fraternity bro. Until like June, July 2016, when Austin's friends and family started to realize that he wasn't acting the same. He was acting really, really strange and having these really, really extreme mood swings. Austin said that around this time he was hearing voices and felt like evil forces were following him. Austin was also making some really concerning Google searches at this time. Things like, am I crazy? How to know if you're going crazy? Hearing voices in my sleep? Hallucinations and schizophrenia, just to name a few. At this time, Austin was very paranoid about demons. He felt like he might be Jesus, or possibly a half-human, half-dog hybrid. His little sister would lock her door at night because she was afraid of him. Within a month or 2 of Austin's behavior changing, everyone's lives would change forever. Austin's friends and family said that they were very concerned about Austin, but no one seriously intervened and got him help, which takes us to the tragic events of August 15th, 2016. People that saw Austin that day said that he was acting weird. Later that evening, he went to a restaurant with his dad, sister, and some other people, but before the food ever even got to the table, Austin got up to use the bathroom and just left the restaurant without telling anyone. Austin walked 2 miles to his mother's house, but his mother had already gotten a call from her other child saying, hey, we were all at a restaurant and Austin has disappeared. Do you know where Austin is? His mother drove Austin back to the restaurant. She said that the time they spent together, Austin was acting really weird. He was saying really weird things, and he even tried to drink cooking oil while in her home. Back at the restaurant, Austin's dad was pretty much fed up with Austin. His son has been acting weird all summer, and now they've tried to go out to dinner and have a nice evening, and his son just got up and left without telling anyone. So Austin and his dad got into an altercation, which led to Austin getting up and leaving the restaurant once again. This time, Austin is walking in the direction of his father's house. He said while he was walking, he was hearing voices. Demons were following him, and he even saw something that resembled the Grim Reaper. So now Austin is terrified and he's running. He runs right up to what he said looked like a white light, thinking that this might be a safe space for him. But when he got to the white light, he saw a witch, and then the witch started to scream. So Austin began to attack the witch. The white light that Austin saw and ran up to was actually the garage light of the home of Michelle and John Stevens. They had this really cool garage that they like set up really cool with like couches and stuff, and most evenings they would entertain or just relax in that garage with the garage door open. And tragically, that's what Michelle and John Stevens did that evening. The witch that Austin attacked and was now stabbing repeatedly was Michelle. Her husband John heard his wife's screams and tried to go and help her, but Austin began to attack and stab him as well. A neighbor that lived across the street also heard what was going on and tried to go and help his neighbors. Austin also stabbed that neighbor, but that neighbor thankfully was able to get away, survive, and call 911 for help.
Please, and medical. Young man beating up a woman across the street.
Are either of them injured? Can you tell from where you are?
Yes, there's a girl laying on the ground. He beat her up. I ran over there. I'm bleeding profusely here at the moment.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Can you tell if she's conscious?
No, it does not appear so, no.
Strangely enough, at the exact same time, Austin's mom called 911 to report her son missing.
I don't know how to do this. My son, he's taken off. It seems like he's a little delusional. It says, you know, he feels immortal and like a superhero. So I don't know what's going on with him. And he was out to dinner with his dad today and he took off.
He left on foot?
Yes. He has no ID on him, no phone. We'll say, I think the only thing he has on him is a pocket knife switchblade.
When police got to the scene, it was a brutal sight. Tragically, Michelle and John had already passed away, and Austin was on top of John like an animal. He was growling and eating John's face and chest. The police at the scene said that Austin was having somewhat superhuman strength, that it took 4 police officers, a taser, and a police dog to get Austin off of John. He said that he seemed unfazed while he was being tased and while the canine was like ripping out his arm. To the surprise of many, there was not a single illegal substance found in Austin's system other than a small trace amount of plant, which honestly blew everyone's mind in the media, the police officers, because everyone was convinced that Austin had to be tweaking out on some pretty gnarly substances. Multiple psychiatrists examined Austin and all of them said that he was experiencing a psychotic break. Which, yeah, I 100% believe that if everything Austin said he was experiencing is true. I think it's really sad that no one intervened in his life before this. I think, in my personal opinion, that this was 100% preventable if someone had gotten him professional mental help. 2022, Austin Harif was found not guilty by reason of insanity for killing John and Michelle Stevens. A ruling that to say was upsetting for the loved ones of John and Michelle would be an understatement.
You are a disgusting human with a rancid soul, a sick animal that should have been put down a long time ago. You deserve nothing more than to feel despair and debilitating guilt for what you did every second of the day for the rest of your sad, meaningless, and pathetic life. I hope death comes for you sooner than later, and when it does, I will rejoice, because only then will justice be truly served for John and Michelle.
Thank you.
I hope you burn in hell, along with your parents. Wade, you're disgusting.
And I completely understand how they're feeling. A lot of victims' families feel some kind of comfort or closure knowing that their loved one's killer was brought to justice, and that's something that they're never going to be able to experience. I couldn't even imagine someone I love being brutally killed and you knowing who did it, but still hearing that not guilty verdict. I don't know how I would handle that, and I don't know how I would be able to ever cope with that. So I 100% understand their anger. This is so upsetting because there were so many red flags that the situation with Austin was a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. If you watched to the end of this video, thank you so much. And to the loved ones of Michelle and John, I am so sorry and I sympathize with you so much, and don't let anyone tell you that you don't have a right to be angry. If you watched to the end and listened to John and Michelle's story, thank you so much. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Creepy facts that will disturb you. Somehow the organs in your body know exactly what order that they're supposed to be in. So when surgeons perform their job, they don't typically reorganize them because they rearrange themselves correctly automatically. The chemical composition of human tissue is so similar to that of pigs that the average individual would not be able to tell the difference between pork and human in a blind taste test. We don't really know reality. We only know our perception of reality. For example, example, the sky isn't really blue. The gases in our atmosphere scatter the shorter wavelength frequencies of the visible light spectrum, that is, blue, indigo, and violet. Yet, we only see blue. The rest are still there, we just don't see it. Spiders are one of the most evolutionary advanced species on the planet. The more we kill them, the better they get at hiding. They can even convince us that we've killed them even when we haven't.
I want y'all to name one character bigger than this dude right here. Watch this. It's literally the biggest character in fiction, no debate. You can see the body forming, okay? Countless stars are composed in this body. It's absorbing everything in the observable universe, but watch, the body's still expanding. Look at that. On the planet, there's the head taking off, literally across every galaxy in the universe. But it's not done. You're about to see Demon Slayer has just dethroned every single anime. So the brand new Peak episode, which just dropped, has a 9.9 on IMDb with over 5,000 reviews and less than 2% 1-star and less than 2% 2-star. And the reason why it's dethroned every single anime is because every most popular anime does not have an episode higher than this. One Piece's highest episode, 10/15, 9.7. Jujutsu Kaisen's highest episode, Sukuna vs. Mahoraga, 9.6. Attack on Titan, yes, Attack on Titan's highest rated episode, Perfect Game, 9.8. Even his niche's Code Geass, the best conclusion in all of fiction, or one of the best conclusions in all of fiction, 9.8. This is not me trying to bring awareness to this to have people try and downvote it. I don't want that. I want this episode to get a perfect 10 because it was amazing. Do I think it was the best episode in all of anime? No. But I definitely want one episode at least in all of anime to have a perfect 10. We don't have one of those yet. But yeah, in my opinion, it definitely deserves a 9.9. Best episode in the entire series by far. The animation was a straight peak.
Remember the time when Germany tried to wield the power of the sun? They tried to make it happen in World War II. In the early 1940s, this man, German physicist Hermann Oberth, came up with the plan of building an orbital space station with a giant mirror capable of reflecting the sun's light to incinerate cities and military targets on Earth. Planned to build a space station 5,100 miles above Earth. The station would have a huge reflector made out of metallic sodium, covering 3.5 square miles. They said that this reflector could, quote-unquote, could focus sunlight to boil an ocean or burn a city. Germans even went so far to set a budget of 3 million marks. That's roughly equivalent to billions of dollars today. Oberth calculated that it would take about 15 years to finish constructing the massive mirror. Building material would be brought up by rockets to be placed into orbit with the space station. Then they plan to send up a crew of engineers and scientists to kind of construct the reflector together. The whole thing would be connected with a bunch of satellites and rockets and a main space station. However, given how absolutely ridiculous the idea was at the time, considering that a lot of the technology they were claiming didn't exist, it never got off of the drawing board. Thank God.
The million-dollar question since the day she went missing is, where is she? She disappeared in a multi-million-dollar lab building with a multi-million-dollar ventilation system, several floors, several rooms, several locations. Where is she? In this one building, you have some of the world's leading scientists. I mean, the ones that are likely going to change the trajectory of modern medicine and how humans perceive and feel diseases. You have some of the world's brightest minds on campus, where students at Yale have an average IQ of around 125. In that specific building, you had the leads, the head investigators from New Haven Police Department, Connecticut State Police Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigations. And all of this would come down to Max. Max is going to be the one to find Annie Lay. Max is a 90-pound German Shepherd, and Max is only trained to react to one thing: human remains. Past this bright blue door and into one of the metal door stalls, Max is like dragging them. They're following him, and then he just stops. He sits inside the middle of a bathroom stall. The investigators are looking at Max. I mean, his bottom is touching the ground. He's sitting. That's his signal. He's sitting and he's staring. But it doesn't make any sense. They look at Max and they look at what he's signaling at. He's staring directly at the wall. It's like kind of blends into the wall. It's almost the size of a computer screen. Like your laptop screen, maybe 8 to 10 inches wide at most. It's tiny. The officers carefully unlatch and open the door. And in between the water pipes, the yellow insulation foam, was the body of a brilliant Yale graduate student.
This is everything that happened on the news today, but it's going to be simplified in 60 seconds. A new study is now claiming that pizza is actually a healthier breakfast than most cereals. Okay. This Ohio billionaire is now planning a $20 million Titanic sub dive to prove that deep sea expeditions can be life-changing. Hello, Ohio billionaire. Did we not learn anything last time? Thank you. The popcorn buckets for the Deadpool and Wolverine movie have officially been revealed, and this is what they look like. I know y'all remember the Dune one. Hello. If you know anybody that likes to shop at Walmart, millions of Walmart customers could be eligible for a refund after a major self-checkout error led retailer to overcharge. Basically, they're saying that this started on March the 19th of this year, and it lasted for a couple of days, so if you shopped at that point, they might owe you money. Walmart made an official statement and said that they did pay some people back, but not everyone, so that's very cute and classy. Thank you. If you haven't already heard about this, on June the 3rd, literally in 3 days, there's going to be a planet parade where you're going to be able to see all 6 of these planets in the sky with literally just your eyes, and it's going to be in the morning. If you don't want to forget about this, just make sure you add me and I'll give you a reminder. I give you these news roundups every day, so make sure you add me and come back to me tomorrow.
That the little girl will forever share her birthday with the date her mother died.
This is who you ruined her life. She will never know her mommy.
23-year-old Yesenia Aguilar was 8 months pregnant when this woman who was under the influence ran her over. Yesenia and her husband were walking together on the sidewalk when Courtney Pandolfi came out of nowhere and hit Yesenia. What's crazy is that this was Courtney's 5th DUI since 2008. Fortunately, after an emergency C-section, the baby survived. But the mother didn't, and the father, James Alvarez, says that it's been difficult accepting the fact that his wife died on the same day that his daughter was born.